Hi, everyone, and welcome back. While we're having a little bit of a break from our Block Wednesdays, this week I'm bringing you a tutorial on how to construct the blocks for the high tea sew along. For this sew along, you will need to have purchased the kit and or the pattern. Well, not and or, the kit comes with the pattern. So the kit or the pattern. And the kit comes with Pat's drawing room fabric, which is her current fabric line from Benetex. As my stocks of the drawing room did not come in time, and I filmed this in October, I am using Pat's Sleepovers fabric with a few changes to suit the fabrics that I had from the Fat Quarter bundle. So grab your pattern, grab your fabric, come with me, and I'll show you how to do it. Because I'm not using the kit and I haven't got Pat's the drawing room fabric yet, I decided to make mine out of sleepovers, as I said in the introduction. So what I had to do was work out my color placements, which of the fabrics I was going to use, and go from there, matching it up with the letters that match back to the pattern. So that was a whole process. It didn't actually take me that long because I'm used to doing that. So you can see what I went with was stripes of color using the prints of Sleepover to their best advantage. But throughout this tutorial, all of the letters match up to the pieces that I'm using for you if you are doing it with the drawing room. And on the table in front of me here, I've got everything I need to make one of each of the two blocks. So everything is labeled and matching back to the original pattern with the letters that are on there. And the reason you see some repeats like the J, L, N, and O is because I'm not using 4 different types of fabric for that. I'm only using 2 different types of fabric. Don't know why I felt the need to carry that across my camera, but anyway, let's go with it. So don't be disheartened that I don't have as many different patterns and stuff on the table. J, N, L, and O, like I said, and K and M are all still going to go into the same spots. I'm just not using as many fabrics as the original pattern. So we're going to start by making the, I think there's 16 patch units, but the one with all the squares, and that's done by sewing strip sets, which makes it super easy. So we're just going to take one of our background strips, whatever letter that was, I put them away now, and one of our other strips there. And we're just going to sew these strip sets together with our 1/4 inch seam allowance. Because we're only making strips of 2, you can just power through these and chain piece them. I'm working from fat quarters, so I've only got half of the width of fabric because I believe in the pattern it is supposed to be width of fabric. Now, when sewing strip sets, the important thing is, of course, to keep them lined up under your needle, but also don't pull on them. Don't pretend you're going water skiing at the back of the machine and tug on them. Just let them feed through naturally. And if you try to keep your hands in front, you'll find that the fabric won't skew as it goes under the needle. We're going to take all of these now and press them towards the darker of the 2 fabrics. When coming to press these, because you will be working with width of fabric strips, it is quite easy to get a bend in the middle. So it is important to remember to actually press and not iron. But what I find easiest and best to try and avoid that is I slowly open it up with my fingers first and give it a good finger press, making sure that I keep it straight. So with our strip sets all done and pressed now, and I'm just showing you that these are my paisley pieces which form up the middle cross part of this block, and they are pieces N and O from the pattern. And what we need to do now is actually cut these into their little segments to the width directed in the pattern. Now, the easiest way to do this, and if you press correctly, your seam in the middle there will be straight. So you can take a reference from that and line that up on your ruler to cut these into the required widths. All you could see me doing there was working out how many I can cut at once, but I'm lining up that center line on the center line of my ruler, or any line on the ruler, to make sure that I am cutting these straight, and I'll cut all of these down to the required number of pieces. Because I'm only making one block, I don't need to cut as many, but follow the pattern for the number that you need. We now need to repeat this process for our J and L fabrics. Now for J in yours, you will have 4 different patterns for J and 4 different patterns for L. For me, my J is just one print in each of the colors, I guess. So I do have 4 still, and one print again in the other one. So I still do have 4, but because I'm only making the one block, it only has one for each and not a mixture. So in the pattern, your 4 patches will have different fabrics for the print fabrics, but mine are going to contain the same fabrics. But I am going to cut these together, because what you can do with your 4 different prints is nest that seam in the middle the same way that I am doing here, and cut both the segments at the same time, and they will be ready to just transfer to the machine and put under the needle to sew the 4 patch units. For me though, because I will have the same fabric, 2 print fabrics the same in my 4 patches, I will cut these the same as if I was just going to put them straight under the needle, but I will separate them out before coming to that 4 patch section. And in the top left hand corner, you will see my paisley ones. They don't get sewn into 4 patches. They come in a little bit later, because that is the feature cross in the middle of your blocks. So I will slice through all of these, sort my 2 piles out, sew my 4 patches, and just press them in one direction, and I'll meet you back. Just future editing me. On the pattern, it does indicate which way you should press these, and it is a good tip to follow that, because it allows for the correct nesting when we come to sew the next parts together. We're now ready to make up the 3 rows that make up this first block, and for that we need our 2 different fabrics that we just put together, so your J's and your L's, and now we grab our paisley pieces, which were your N and your O, and we take 2 of each for that top row, because the top and bottom are done the same. And then on the middle row, we're just adding an extra square in the middle with our paisley pieces, paying attention to how they're all set out and lined up. And as I said, if you follow the pressing directions that are in the pattern, every single one of these seams will nest as we go through this part. So I'm going to sew the top 2 rows, the top and the bottom row together first, create those pieces, create my middle row, and then this goes together in 3 rows. So we do 2 horizontal seams. Once again, just paying attention to the pattern for the direction of pressing throughout. Thanks for joining me again this week, folks. And these blocks are quite simple to put together, just strip piecing and cutting and sewing. As I said throughout, pay attention in the pattern to the direction of the pressing, and this allows for everything to nest perfectly when doing the final block construction. If you've liked what you've seen today, please consider liking the video, sharing it with a friend, and subscribing if you haven't already done so. When you do subscribe, make sure that you click that little bell notification so you won't miss a thing. I'll see you all again next week with the second part of our High Tea Sew Along series. Bye for now.